feeling that you get, it's just full of love. Full of love. You can feel it between the 5 boys and that audience. The first few times it was just tears. I mean, we just cried through the whole thing. And I was so proud. I was just bursting.
There is a message beyond the musical message, and I think that's probably what I'm most proud about the boys about, is that I think they have a legacy to give to the kids.
They have a good image and they have good lyrics and stuff. They're a positive role model for us and stuff. Is that important to you? Yeah.
Our fans just, you know, they know what they believe in and they stand up for it, and I think that's beautiful.
They're a force for good in the life of America, and they didn't start out that way, you know, any more than they started out with doing Coke commercials, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. They were available for wakes, weddings, bar mitzvahs, songs, dances, and funny things.
We'll go to the Italian restaurant near the house. So you're going to go home now then?
Yes.
All right.
When you grow up in a city like Boston, you grow up fast. You learn about drugs and race relations and losing friends.
Some are in jail, some are dead. Some are dead. One guy I used to hang out with got shot in 4 corners the other day.
So it helps a whole lot if you come from a family that keeps you wrapped in a giant bear hug, even when you're away from home.
The first tour they went on, before Johnny got in the bus, I said, gee, please don't change. You know, I love you, dear. I want you to stay just the way you are.
It would appear he has.
I'll never forget, I was over at my mother's house in Savin Hill, and I was stopped by the house, and he was there, and I left, and the limousine pulls up behind me, and all of a sudden I look in the rearview mirror, and here's Donnie running out of the car towards me. And I goes, what's going on? And I opened the door, and he reached in and gave me a big hug and said, I love you, and ran back to the car.
How would you describe him?
As a very caring person, and he always was. Don't be embarrassed about this. You always did care. You cared about other people, too. Your life was not just your own. I know you did. You were a very, very caring kid, and I'm very proud of you.
One of 9 children, Donnie almost pulsates with the bravado and uncertainty that can be Dorchester to a kid.
This was the hangout, though.
This is it, huh?
Yep. If you could climb on the big roof right there, you was a legend. And Jimbo and my brother Artie were the only legends around. Like the crowd, they were like, you know, this was the place to come drink, and, you know, get high, and, you know, the police come, you run off and everything. When we hung up here, it was like the place to be with your friends, you know. Mostly everyone smoked cigarettes. And when I was real little, I tried smoking cigarettes, you know, and I would be sitting there, you know, trying to look tough. And I realized that I was just trying to be a tough guy with a cigarette in my mouth. And me and Paul kind of were on that same wavelength. We were like, why is everyone smoking? You know, let's be the new thing. Let's be the non-smokers. And we would, you know, we would make ourselves tough by not smoking, you know.
Hangin' Tough is more than the title of an album. It's a way of coping. It's an attitude, a positive attitude.
See, that's an important word, positive, because it's an overall kind of feeling, and that's what you have to get through day to day here. You need an overall...
Positive attitude.
See, that's an important word, positive, because it's an overall kind of feeling, and that's what you have to get through day to day here. You need an overall idea. You can't just be making decisions one by one and thinking about them too much sometimes. You know, am I going to do drugs? Am I going to sell drugs? Am I going to punch this person in the nose? You know, am I going to look at that gang member? You can't. You have to have an overall kind of view.
And above all, that means knowing who you are and what is real.
I was always into sports, running and playing basketball and soccer. So I was always too much into them things to be trying to mess my body up by doing drugs.
He was also into his books and earned a 4-year scholarship to BU.
This is my, you know, escape from the streets, I guess, and escape from everything. It was just something new, and not all my friends did it.
Since the age of 6, Joey McIntyre has been immersed in theater.
You know, you don't always have to do what your friends do.
A lot of people send letters like, you know, they're having troubles with their family, someone offering them drugs, and they remembered what we said, and, you know, they hang tough against all that stuff, and they said no to the drugs and stuff, and that's what really makes me happy. That's the best thing about this whole thing.
Just to put their success into perspective, according to CBS Records, the biggest selling pop album of all time was Michael Jackson's Thriller. It sold 40 million copies worldwide in 3 years. Hangin' Tough, which was released in the spring of last year, sold 15 million copies in 1989 alone, and that only included U.S. sales. But New Kids is selling more than records. You'll see what and why that's so important to them and their fans as we continue with New Kids, more than a music story.
I think you hit it, Natalie. It's kind of extraordinary that unless you really stop to think about it, that there is much more to the New Kids on the Block than just the music and the entertainment.
The music, they're white kids. They started off doing black rap. That's incredible what they have been through, and that they're so strong about their roots, and they're like on a crusade. They want to